Hey everyone, it's Venia here from Vena's Spiritual Lounge. I know I've been MIA for a couple days. I actually snuck off and took like a mini vacation to Atlantic City. And I had a good time, something I needed to do. I enjoyed myself. I walked the boardwalk up and down. Did a few other things. I gambled a little bit, won a little bit. Um, I had a wonderful time. I really did, and I needed it. And the whole time away, I was like, geez, I really should put out a video because a lot of stuff was coming to me, right? But it was kind of difficult because my husband was with me, and he's in the room too, and I don't do our stuff in front of him. So, and it was like, well, can you go get lost for about an hour? And he's like, no, I'm resting. So, anyway, here I am. I'm back. And I've got a pretty full itinerary for today. I hate that sounds so formal. But a lot of stuff did happen. A lot of stuff did come to me. And I want to share so much with you guys. And I'll probably have to do like a second video in the short term, like maybe Sunday or something, just to kind of catch up on stuff. But how's everybody doing? Seriously, like, are you letting some of the lessons soak in? Are you absorbing them? Are you kind of trying to use them? Or are you just simply becoming more aware of divine love in some way or facet in your life throughout the day? Are you taking that step back, kind of looking, okay, yeah, I'm seeing it, I'm seeing it. Quite a few of you have remarked that you are. And then maybe one or two people are like, nope, ain't seeing it. Nope. And that's fine too. That is fine too. Love meets everybody where they are. Okay? Whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you want to admit that there is a presence that's constantly flowing, pulsing through everything. You don't have to admit it. It's still going to work with or without you. It's sort of like the air, whether you want to acknowledge the air being there or not, it's there. It's there. Um, I saw something really, really cute just for a fun, light touch. If you guys want to go mark it for later, um, there was this really cute video that's going viral now of these two Brazilian nuns, right? And they're actually beatboxing. They're beatboxing, okay? They totally don't look like no kind of beatbox types, right? But if you want to see something just light and fun and just enjoy yourself for, a couple minutes, just Google Brazilian nuns beatbox. That's it. And just go watch them. It'll kind of uplift you a little bit because they are certainly in the flow of enjoying life, enjoying themselves while trying to like spread some positivity. So that's kind of a good feel good thing. Go check it out if you want. All right. Something else that happened really, really good was there was a child, there was a car that was carjacked in Philadelphia. Why the parent left the car running, I'll never know, and I don't understand why people would do that. That's beyond insane to me. Um, I've never done that, and never. I doubt if I ever will for any reason. But anyway, especially when you're out in public, But you really should never leave a car running. Um, Forget about the fact that someone's in the car, okay, especially a child, but just to leave the car running, that's you're just inviting someone to take that car. But there was the child was left in the car was running, and someone carjacked the car, right? And so they must have realized there was a 6 year old child in the back of the car. Okay? They parked the car, turned it off, and left it. The car was found just a few blocks from where it was carjacked. The child was completely safe, unharmed. He had just apparently woken up. Okay? And I'm sure, like the parent, thought, yeah, they're sleeping. I'll just run in for a second or two. But no. Mm-mm. And hopefully that was one of those lessons for them to get, and spirit sometimes does that kind of thing. If you're too careless um, in certain ways, you take too many unnecessary type risks, etc., your guides will jump in and just kind of cause a little havoc to kind of teach you, a lesson. Be more mindful, be more, you know, cognizant of what your actions could do. They'll do those type of things. So I'm so sure that's what happened. Fortunately, had a good outcome. The parent learned their lesson, and the child is safe. I was very happy to hear about that. That happened in Philadelphia. Okay, so um, we did have another political death. Charles Rangel of New York. He passed. He was a congressman for, I guess, 40 years or close to it, 40 plus maybe. He passed. He is actually our fourth passing now. Remember, I told you there's a cluster of six. There was going to be three and then a cluster of six, and he is the fourth one now. And these are kind of happening very quickly. He was a very good congressman, by the way. I do remember um, him and a lot of what he was involved with. Very much active with the civil rights, um, fairness, equity, that type of thing. He leaves behind a pretty good legacy. Now, um, I know that there was some controversy with him at some point, but I'm going to kind of remember him in a little bit more positive light because he did do quite a bit of good during his term, his long term as a member of the House. Let's see. We've got a Mercury Cazimi. A Cazimi is when a planet is very close to the sun, and so it kind of expresses itself in its full glory. Mercury, planet of communication, consciousness, um, how we think, okay, our thoughts, everything mental, we'll put it that way. Everything mental, communication, speaking, right? That is in its full glory now with the sun. So you may have a super epiphany about something. Um, you may get a super big flash of insight into an issue, problem, situation, person that could come. And this is happening. It started yesterday, and you're going to feel the effects now for the next couple days. All right. So I always welcome something like that because, it usually brings such a clarity of thought. Okay. And so kind of look for that, quite a clarity of thought, thinking, and that epiphany. I actually had one yesterday, I'll be honest with you. And I said, okay, this came right on time. Um, and it was a good one. It was very positive. It helped me and it allowed me to see sort of a situation, like a situation that I had needed a bit more clarity on. It gave it to me. And, when we get those epiphanies, it's best to run with it. In other words, act accordingly, right? You're given a true spread of information, knowledge about something, act accordingly. Go for it. Go take the action that you're being led to do, right? So it's a good period of time for that. Also, unfortunately, we still have this period of the violence, violent action, anger, that type of thing. And I told you guys in two prior videos, these times come up, they're sort of like a barometer test of how are we with our emotions, handling them, not controlling them, but directing them the way we need to. Do we take those bursts of anger and just erupt with it, or do we take that anger that we're feeling and take some type of positive action? Okay. um, and that's kind of what it's all about. So during this period of time, and it's going to last until sometime in June, we're going to see a lot of those fits of anger from people that don't have that control. Those outbursts, those sort of violent actions. We just had Ukraine make one of its strongest and deepest attacks into Russian territory that they've ever done. And I'm very proud of them actually for doing that. I'm taking that. They were given the green light to, they can attack wherever they want, within Russia. Um, Before they were restricted. Um, as part of our negotiations with them on providing them weaponry, um, we put restrictions on how deep they could attack because we were not afraid of what Russia would do, but we didn't want to too much provoke the bear, right? Well, the EU, the European Union, has taken over, and they're like, mm-mm, go for it. You can do basically whatever you want. You're doing the right thing in defending your country, which they are. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to fully defend it. Let's take these shackles off you and go for it. So um, they did attack Russia close to Moscow or even further, I believe, and it was a heavy duty attack because Ukraine has been getting pounded lately. But anyway, they retaliated and they hit Russia, and it's a pretty good attack. And I personally, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Yes, Russia will retaliate. Yes, Russia will respond. However, it will make them think twice about their actions. Um, so, but anyway, this is the type of thing that we're going to kind of see. I'm also looking at Iran. Um, that just seems to be like a pot boiling that's just getting ready to just erupt itself. Iran and the other nation with an I, and not Iraq. Um, but that type of thing coming up. Um, let's see here. What else? Oh, something else that kind of goes in line with all this is Don the Con has been pardoning the most unsavory characters. It's like a MAGA thing to pardon the worst of the worst, okay? And it's troubling for sure, but I want to assure everyone just because an individual spirit escapes um, justice here or for the short term or whatever, the universal scales always must balance, okay? So a pardon may do them good in the short term or even while they're here. Um, but it really means nothing in the universal grand scheme of things. Everyone's karma energies, karmic obligations, karmic debts must be paid. The universe doesn't, you know, care. A pardon in human form means zilch to the universal scales, to the universal sense of balance, okay? The debt must be paid, must be balanced, okay? And it will be. It will exact the perfect balance from that spiritual entity, okay? So he's really actually not helping these people. He may be helping them in the short term, but as with anything, like I just said, everything must balance. Their karmic debt will be paid somehow or another. You know, um, there are times when even a person who does jail time still has not fully paid back their debt. And so there are other situations that will happen um, to ensure that the debt is paid in full. Okay? So no one escapes anything, no one gets away with anything. These pardons, they're basically almost an empty gesture as far as the universe goes. Okay, the universe goes. I remember watching a some kind of documentary or something, and it was this Chicago drug lord. This was many years ago, and he was talking about all the things that he did throughout his life, and he did that, and he did this, and he never felt any remorse, never felt, and he unalived many people, or had many people unalived through the people that worked for him did, a lot of the dirty work. But anyway, he was unrepentant for years, he said. And then his daughter contracted some type of disease like leukemia or something like that. And he had to watch her die. And during this period, it was like maybe, I don't know, 3 years that she lasted, but she was in a deep decline. And watching her die, he said, was like pure hell for him. And she finally passed. And it just ripped his heart out. It was his only child. And he just loved his daughter, so much. And he said after that happened, he started thinking about what all the people that he had unalive, what their families had gone through. And then he started thinking about all the people that he was sold drugs to and how it ruined their lives. And on and on and on and on. That simple act, it wasn't simple, his daughter passing, but that one act of his daughter passing set off a cascade of understanding for him and completely changed him to the point where by the end of this documentary, and it was fascinating, But by the end of the documentary, he actually said he understood that he had not really paid his debt. Even with his daughter passing, he understood that it was more coming and that it would take a long time for him to atone for all the things that he had done. He said he sensed this, he knew it. Somehow he just knew it. He said that was just the beginning. He said, I expect and deserve a lot more of this. And so I guess he was in his early 60s when I saw him in this documentary. So I don't know what happened after that. But I just think that's fascinating, that he understood his debt. He had a debt to pay, and he knew it, you know? So, to all those fretting about these pardons and, how unfair and horrific it is, yes, it is in a sense. However, it really means nothing. It doesn't help these monsters that are being let go free. They will still get theirs some kind of way. Okay, some kind of way. The universe will extract the balance of their actions. Okay, so not to worry. Um, a little quick laugh. MAGA protesting Harvard. uh-huh. Uh, it's so simple that it's even hard to laugh at that. But that's sort of like me protesting the NBA drafts, right? I'm like 5 feet. I'm like, you know, up there in years. And I have no basketball skills whatsoever. But I'm going to protest the drafts for the NBA because, blah, blah, blah. I mean, are they kidding? Really? Like, how many of them have even a chance or are even interested in getting into Harvard? Let alone the fact that a lot of them come from communities, red states that just don't put an emphasis in education. So, anyway, that's just a little blah, blah, blah. Um, the Federal Trade Court, it nullified Trump's tariffs completely on all countries. And what they said was that that is something that must be done by Congress. Now, Trump did appeal it, emergency appeal. This all just happened within the span of 2 days. The Trump administration appealed it, and the appeals court put a stay, just a temporary stay, on the federal trade court, just so that things can be reviewed, etc. But that kind of goes in line with what I've been telling you guys as far as so much of what this administration is going to try to do, is trying to do, it's just not going to stick. It's just not going to take. It's just going to be so ineffective. The only thing that they're doing is basically racking up people's nerves, right? And that's kind of something I want to talk about for the Divine Love lesson in a little bit. But anyway, also, do you guys remember my prediction on the fact that I said that he is being treated for something, Don the Con? He's had some type of issue. I don't even know exactly what it is, but I know he's had some type of health issue and that it would come out eventually what it was. Because they're very, mum on anything that has to do with his health, knowing good and well the man is in horrific, like his health is, he's literally the walking D, right? But there was an astrologer, Andre, and I just heard, he just put it out yesterday. and he was talking about, he was with Linda, the tarot reader. And I love Andre, by the way, love him. But he was talking about how he just noticed that there's a configuration, um, and it has something to do with Saturn and a few other planets, and that, oh my God, like his health, he was saying, is just, it's so bad and it does nothing but get worse. And I just thought that was interesting because you don't have to be any form of a psychic to look at this man and see that not only his cognitively he is declining and has declined, but I told you guys he literally walked into a wall during a press conference last week and still didn't understand why he was being directed away from the wall. So, but I just thought that was a nice confirmation, that Andre got that about, whatever's going on in his chart. And it's like hitting him now, and it's going to be hitting him really hard. So, um, it is basically what it is. Let's see. I wanted to be wrong, and I want to be wrong about Justin Bieber, what I told you guys about him. But that, video clip of him at the Scissor concert, it just broke my heart. And I'm sure any of you that saw it, it broke your heart too. Um, he's just not doing good. He's just, and I'm so worried. My prediction, I saw him in some type of either like comatose type state or paralyzed type state or just not, in some sort of vegetable type state. And, you know, what we're seeing lately is just not, it's just not good. I really want to be wrong on this one. Bad. I just think he's so talented and he's really an innately good person. Um, and I'm truly and it can go one of two ways now. He can get himself together. Sometime that definitely does happen. But lately it's just not really looking good for him. Um, so and so many of you have said, I'm sending love to him, and that's a wonderful, good thing. Like I always say, send that love out there. Just send it out. Even if you don't want to direct it at anyone specifically, just send it out there because it gets picked up and it gets used. Okay? It really does. Okay. Let's talk about. One last thing. Sorry. SpaceX. They had another rocket fail this week. Uh, and it's funny because, EM, who is the CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, sort of kind of tried to put a positive spin. I don't know how you can put a positive spin on a rocket that literally blows up. We all saw it. Well, most of us did. That just happened again this week. This is what, the second or third one, maybe the fourth. I don't know. But anyway, he says, well, it went a little further this time, and this is literally the person that wants that gutted the FAA and that wants to take over the technology for the FAA. Okay, no, we already see what has happened with air traffic controllers, flights. We've seen enough. Newark is basically almost a ghost town at certain times because they don't have the air traffic controllers that EM had let go. Um, The equipment was supposed to be upgraded. That hasn't happened. So, I mean, no, we don't want a guy whose rockets are just literally blowing up to take over the FAA. All right, you can't spin that. Stop. Just stop. Please. All right. So, all right. Now let's talk about divine love lesson. This video is not going to be that long this week, only because I like to do a lot more preparation, and by preparation I mean have time to be quiet unto myself and allow the stuff that I'm getting and that they give to me to soak in, etc. I don't, and then I usually kind of wing it. But I didn't really have a good chance to do that. I just got back yesterday evening and I really wanted to put out a video for you guys. I was missing you guys, all right? To be honest with you. So, like I said, I will pick up more on Sunday probably. But let's jump into Divine Lesson. What is this, number 9? OMG. Yes, it's number 9. I need to write that down. All right. Okay, so just as I literally was getting ready to read the question, um, my laptop just died. It stopped recording. I don't know what happened. I'm going to try to slice them together. Hopefully, I'm successful. But if you feel, hi Vina, if you feel that divine love is already around us, I don't feel it is. I know it is, okay? Then why do I hear people being lonely and loneliness epidemic, kids not playing outside and being cooped up in their room, the feeling of doomerism, people only out for themselves and relationship, and the overall tightness of society disappearing? Shouldn't divine love bring people together? What's the meaning behind these? Okay, so first of all, that kind of goes back to divine love lesson number 1. Quit your expectations of what you think divine love should look like. Okay? Sometimes there is a lesson to be learned in that loneliness, okay? In being alone, okay? Sometimes there is a reason why people must be to themselves and unto themselves, okay? We are not at a point in society yet where, all is, hey, let's all get together, hold hands, and sing, kumbaya. No, we're not there yet, okay? And divine love doesn't force anything. Everything must unfold, but in an individual way, okay? And so that is also the reason I've been telling people that a lot of what we're going through right now is for the collective. Yes, for sure. But we still have our own individual agendas, individual paths, individual things that we must experience and go through, live and learn, right? So, like I said, we are not all at the same point of understanding, okay? We all have unique perspectives on things. We all have unique experiences we've been through, right? So you can't, you wouldn't want divine love to treat you and everyone else as one big mass block of existence, okay? That would be unfair and very unloving. Divine love is individual, yet one. It sounds contradictory, but it's really not. It's individualized for your unique spirit frequency, soul path, life, existence, okay? But yet we are all connected, okay? Just like all the different triangles on this sphere. This is one sphere, one. Yet it's broken up into many different triangles, right? But it still makes the one, okay? Each of those triangles is each of us, but we're still connected to the one, okay? So while this person that I've read is looking at things, well, why is this happening? Why are these people experiencing loneliness? Well, they may be at a point in their life where they need to gather unto themselves. I remember my father who passed 2 years ago, and bless his heart, his entire life he had been an extrovert, a party animal, um, surrounded constantly by friends, right? People, this, that. I wouldn't say all of them were friends, but constantly surrounded by people. Never spent probably, the only time he spent alone was probably in the shower, when he was taking a shower. That was it. And he was always out, always immersed in any form of being with people, partying, etc. And then towards the end of his life, it completely changed. He was alone and forced to be alone, lived alone, didn't have many friends left, etc. And do you know, he always, and towards the end, he said he was very lonely and this and that. However, I noticed the most beautiful, remarkable change in him that happened at the end of his life when he was alone. He got more into himself. He understood himself better. He understood life better. He had a lot of insights into things he never had before. There was a certain richness to his life that he had never had before. Okay? So, yes, in one sense, he experienced loneliness, but in another sense, he gained a whole new perspective on himself, on his family, on his life, and just understanding in general. Okay? So, the loneliness was there for a reason. Okay? And he benefited greatly from it in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. Okay? So, what this person is viewing as something negative isn't necessarily a negative condition. Okay? It's just allowing us to see a bigger picture, a more broader picture, and things from a different perspective. You know, we're all going through this situation in this country with this madman, right? And yes, it's horrific in a lot of ways. Um, and there's a lot of things going on, but we still have to understand and realize we are still here for our own individual spiritual path, our unique path. Okay? We still have to live our life. We still have to do the things that are unfolded in our path and live through them. Okay? Some of it is what this administration is about, but a lot of it isn't. And that is why I always say take a step back. Live life, absolutely, but take a step back and try to see the bigger, broader picture. Okay? We still have our own unique path that we must let unfold. That doesn't involve this administration or this madman. That's just one area of it. Okay? So, like I said, the best piece of advice I was given by my guide during my near death experience, I believe, was when I was told, just live and live, excuse me, the best way I knew how at that moment and the highest way I knew how. And in doing that, more and more would unfold. I would learn more and more. My understanding would widen, deepen, etc. Okay? So, live in the world, but also understand that we are here to deepen our understanding and to fulfill certain things that we came to do. Don't worry if you don't know what those things are. They unfold too. They really do. They unfold at the right time and when you have the understanding to grasp it. Okay? So that was a really good question, but it fell in line with what I wanted to talk about. Um, and remember, too, that who is in charge? What is in charge? Divine love is always in charge. And if you have a hard time believing that or even trying to grasp it, just remember what keeps the earth spinning on its axis. What keeps the sun shining, right? What keeps the plants flowering, sprouting up? There's got to be some kind of force behind all of that, right? Right? It's there. Divine love is there, whether you believe it or not. Okay? So, to that person that says, their exact wording, I want to get it. If I feel that divine love is already around us, no, I don't feel it. I know it. I've seen it. And if you think about it, you would know it, acknowledge it, and see it too. All right? So take care, guys, and I probably will see you really, really, really soon. Thanks for checking in with me, by the way.